doing Women of Lockerbie for this final play of our season.
It's about the crash of Pan Am 103 in Lockerbie, Scotland. So it's 7 years later. On the anniversary, we're following two of the main characters, Bill and Madeline, who are struggling with the loss of their son because of this tragedy, and they're still trying to find themselves again. And they meet the Women of Lockerbie. And the Women of Lockerbie are also dealing with this sadness because their lives have also been destroyed in a way because of what happened.
The entire town of Lockerbie that experienced this horrible crash is still grieving over the deaths of people they knew and the people on the plane, while we see Madeline and Bill, parents of parents of someone who died on the plane, going through their own grief. And it's it shows very well the stages of grief and how it can kind of just go back and forth on them, stuck through this cycle.
Is this interpretation and alteration based on an event that has happened, and it is not exactly the event?
Certainly a much harder show. It's also a much smaller cast, which I think lends itself well to the structure of the play.
Unlike a lot of shows that we've done in theater, the Women of Lockerbie is written in the style of a Greek tragedy. It really helps encompass this feeling of dread, but also it's kind of like poetry, which is really nice. And it just creates this perfect balance between being poetic and also being very real.
It's almost telling a story for the sake of capturing an emotion rather than most shows which are telling a story for the sake of capturing a story.
And the show is very unique. It is a lot sadder. A lot sadder than a lot of the shows we've done. But I like that. I like a good tragedy mixed in now and then.
And we've had a lot of fun with this show despite the subject matter, allowing it to just be as is, as the author intended. There are only 5 named characters in it, and the rest are the Women of Lockerbie, who kind of stand out as a Greek chorus.
And the Women of Lockerbie are also dealing with this sadness because their lives have also been destroyed in a way because of what happened.
Olive is leading the women, and she is one of them, but she does still have these breaks in emotion that isn't characteristic of the women. And Madeline is kind of a mess, and she's beset with grief for most of the show. And I think a large part of what makes the show, entertaining is her journey through grief.
So I play Madeline, who is a mother from New Jersey who lost her son 7 years ago in the plane crash. She spends most of the play wandering around the hills looking for her son's body because it was never found when they cleaned up the wreckage.
And there's also George, who is from the American government, and he wants to burn the clothing of the victims, which the Women of Lockerbie want to wash and give back to the families. I like to think that the set is minimal and the costumes are minimal so that the acting and the way the script is written can shine through it all, because it is a very beautifully written script. I do like it a lot. We have a huge hill that resembles this overcoming grief, but also kind of getting stuck in it. The entire stage of the hills, this entire play takes place on the hills throughout the course of one night.
We have a river on stage which flows down from the top of the hill down to the base of the stage, and where they stand within relation to it, it gives a lot to the meaning of what they're saying.
The one side represents life while the other death. So Madeline kind of goes back and forth on this as she's going through this crisis of her, what happens when you die.
There's very little sound. I think we do have a church bell ringing, but that's about it. We have a few props, but very few, sort of a demonstration of how sparse life becomes after it's gone. And costumes are neat. I like them. I suggested the idea of crocheting our own sweaters. So a couple people have.
The lighting is so cool on
The
this
lighting
show.
is awesome.
Because it happens throughout a night, so we have to find ways to light the stage without it being completely pitch black, because, you know, you want to be able to see us. So it's so cool, the different, like, lighting we have. We have this one light where there's, like, little rainbow spots. It's like speckles. It's so cool. At the end of the show, we have this gorgeous sunrise, and it comes up and it just floods the stage.
Honestly, I'm a little bummed out that theater's ending. This is my first time actually being able to participate in the high school play, so it's also really fun. But, you know, I'll be back, don't worry.
So, as someone who just entered acting and theater and drama and stuff, like for the first time ever, I felt really welcomed. And I've always just looked forward to after school and stuff.
It's been a blast, and it's definitely a show that brings a community together. So,
Yeah.
especially like with all of the women, I feel like, because like we are doing so much together in the show and so many activities together outside of practice that it just brings everyone together, and it feels like this community is like tighter.
Also, we are saying goodbye to Cam, and I feel the need to mention this. This is Cam's last show. The only senior doing the show. We will miss them very much.